So what's up guys, today I'm going to talk about the A7III. This is a video that I've been wanting to make since I think I got the camera in, I don't know if it was 2020, 2021. Before I start, I want to tell you guys the story of how I bought this camera. I just barely moved from Mexico. I had a Canon T7i. That was a great camera to start. I was vlogging, but I needed something with low light performance. And that was the year that this camera was released. I had no money. I had a car in Mexico, and I remember I sold my car in Mexico to be able to have money to buy this camera. And I remember, I think it was like $2,500. To me, it was the biggest purchase I ever had in my life. So half of it was with my paycheck because I used to work at the IRS. As soon as I bought this camera, I think 2 weeks later, I quit my job. And my resignment reason, it was follow my dream on YouTube. So if my peers from IRS are looking here, we're living the dream, baby. But yeah, I sold my car to buy this camera. So it's still a great camera. I think technology now these days, there's no excuse. There's so many good things, but that was the story. I sold my car to acquire the A7III. But I want to talk about if it's worth it in this day and age. So many cameras out there. I'm not really the kind of guy that's into gear anymore. I used to be one, so I think if you're one of them, you're here because you want to know if it's worth it. And I'm gonna tell you, it all really depends on what you do, what kind of content you make, what kind of photos, what kind of videos. And there is more things into why getting this camera. If you're looking into an A7III, I do think it's worth it. This is the camera that I still use when I shoot concert photography. Like in all my concerts, this is what I use for photos. Here are some photos of my concerts. I think this day and age, it's important to shoot in RAW because RAW photos gives you more detail, gives you more wiggle room to make mistakes and also to push your creative boundaries more. So this camera shoots RAW, so it's amazing. The files are not as huge as the A7 IV, for example, and also you can shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time. So yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, it's a great camera. I love it. Another thing I like about the A7III, it's a full frame camera. So full frame will give you more low light sensitivity, like more flexibility. Like if you get an SPSE, it would be less resistant to low light. So that's why I like this one too. The low light, it's great on this camera. And in concerts, it's phenomenal. So I think for what I do, it's a great camera. If you want to talk about specs, I mean, it shoots 1080p, 60 frames. It shoots 4K, 24 frames per second, 24 megapixels. I think it's great at low light. I think this is kind of why I got this camera. It's really good for low light. And it was my beat camera when I got the A7S. This was my beat camera. This is still, like I said, what I use for concerts. And sometimes if I'm in a concert and I need to get a video clip, I'll still use this camera. In regards of like video, I think if you're not really into like color grading, I think this is a great camera to start. I would not recommend to shoot in S-Log at all, just because the room for error, it's really small compared to a 10-bit camera. So I wouldn't, do a lot of video if you're shooting S-Log 3. But if you do like blogs or like document your life, I think it's a great camera still. It's an all-around camera. Now these days, I think the flip-up screen is something that I wish I had on this camera because, as you know, it only gives you like this touchscreen, I guess. But I mean, it's still a great camera. I love it. Like I said, I haven't been finding the need to upgrade, which if you would like to see a video comparison between the A7III and the A7 IV, which we have one at the office too. This is, I'll make that video, I guess. But this video is all about this camera. I really love it just because it's what got me really started into filmmaking, and I haven't found the need, like I said, to upgrade the camera. A lot of people talk about megapixels, and this is why I think it's important for you to ask yourself, what are you shooting? For concerts and low light scenarios, I think it's a great camera. If you're doing like sparse photography, it might not be. You might need a camera with higher shutter count. This one I think it has like 11 megapixels, but in the real, 11 frames per second. But in the real world, I think it's great. Like this is what I take on every single trip that I go to. And like I said, it's not about the tool, it's really what you know. If you're really starting, I think this is a great camera for the price. I think they're now like under $1,000 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, if you're starting, you could really start with this. As an advice, I know this video is about the Sony, but don't let the gear stop you on creating what you're trying to create. I've seen, now it's funny that we're going back to the VHS look and using film cameras and old cameras, and it's not about the highest quality megapixel, it's kind of about the feeling that you're trying to portray. And I think you can really do that with the camera. As an advice from a creator perspective, focus more on what kind of image or story you're trying to tell than the gear that you're trying to use to tell that story, because you literally could use, any camera. It's all about capturing the moment and what kind of feel you're trying to go for. But yes, making this video short and sweet. You're trying to get this camera to start, I think go for it. Like I said, I still use this camera to this day. This is what I use to do all my photography. Why I have an upgrade to the A7 IV, there is a difference in colors. I think the A7 IV has like more saturated colors, but if you're a good editor and you know what you're working with, every camera is different, so you will know how to get to the image you're trying to get, no matter what camera you shoot on. Any camera color size is different, so you will get used to that the more you edit. But I have an upgrade because it still gets the job done. Yes, it's a little bit slower than the A7 IV. Yes, it's the menu, it's the old menu, but still, like I said, it's a great camera. I love it. I just shot a concert 2 days ago with the A7 III. And I still love the colors. I like the editing more on the A7 III than the A7 IV. I feel that it gives you more flexibility. I don't know why. This is just probably me because I'm so used to, or just trying to lie to myself so I don't upgrade to the A7 IV or any other camera. But yeah, if you're trying to go for this camera, I think you should go for it. It's a great entry-level camera now, just for the price. Once you get to all the limitations of this camera, I think that's when you should upgrade. If you're gonna start with what you have in hand, and also with the budget that you have in hand, because when you look for new cameras, yes, you all see all the newest cameras that all the influencers and photographers or your favorite photographers they use. And of course they're promoting the new cameras because they're trying to sell them, but sometimes they're like $3,000-$4,000, and when you're starting, you don't have that money. So if you have $1,000, like this kit that I have right here, which is a 35mm 1.4 and the A7 III, this is probably like, you could get it probably like from like $1,500, $1,200. It all depends if you get it used. So yeah, this camera has seen a lot, and I will stick to this camera until it dies. So I hope you like this video. That's all I'm going to talk about this camera. I think, like I said, it's a great camera for its price. Even to this day, like I said, the more we evolve and we keep growing as a creator and photographer, you will really understand that it's not about the camera, it's about your knowledge. This is just a tool, and if you do investments, as an advice, invest more in lenses than a camera body, because the lens is what gives you the look, not really the camera body. This is just gonna make your life easier. And like I said, a lot of people are going back to film, so you make that call, right? So like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I document my life here as a creative entrepreneur, filmmaker, photographer, a lot of things, so go check the blogs. I also create a lot of content on pretty much knowledge about like gear, or like how to edit my photos, videos, and whatnot. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. That's it. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go back to edit a music video. And German, you wanna add something? When you follow a dream, dude, you have to put like skin in the game, When I quit my job, I remember I shook Fonzie's hand and it's like, you want me to move? I'm like, I'll move, baby. Another thing is not the quality of the camera. I have photos that I taken with this camera that I shot for an artist, and they used my photos with this camera for their Hall of Fame booth. Do not compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 10. Do not compare my images to your images. It's all about perspective, and the perspective you have at the moment. So it's not the gear, really. Just keep that in mind. That's it. Peace out. Stay creative. Don't let the gear stop you. Go out and shoot. Go to my Instagram, look at the photos that I used to take. They were awful. Look, this is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this was my first YouTube video. Look at my face, dude. That was my car. That was the car that I sold to acquire the A7III. Do I give you shit every day?
Sí. Todos los días.
That's how you grow, baby. Diamonds, they shine under pressure. Oh, well, let's go get that torta. That's enough. Enough talking.
Ese encuadre más feo.
Hey,